What's up, y'all? CMZ News here to do another recap of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, episode 2 of season 13. So I'm just going to get straight to it. I'm going to try to not make this video very long. I know I really wanted to put this out a lot sooner, but I had a super busy weekend. But nevertheless, here we go. So this episode starts 2 days after Dorit's break-in and her door where they broke into, like the sliding door. That's what it looks like. It's all boarded up. She and PK are just sitting on the couch talking, and they're discussing pretty much like the good care that they feel, or not good care, but the good, I don't know, is it customer service? I don't know. But basically that they're really impressed with the police work, the DA. Apparently all of LAPD's been just very accommodating and just really encouraging that they are going to find who did this break-in. And they talk about how there's security like all over the house, and PK mentions how resilient the children are, which, as we know, kids are very resilient. Dorit talks about, you know, how growing up her father was in the Israeli army and just taught her and her family to be very calm in all situations. She tells the story of a bee. And it was actually just a really nice little conversation. Then we jump over to Rinna and Kyle having lunch. You know, I'm looking at my notes. Okay, so Rinna shows up in this green skirt. I feel like Lisa Rinna was dressed like Erica for this lunch. She looked cute. And then in comes Kyle. And for whatever reason, I felt like Kyle was dressed like Garcelle. Although I think Kyle always wears like the loose, like silk blouses, which I love those type of shirts. But I don't know, I just thought it was funny. I just thought they weren't dressed like themselves per se. And they start talking in the same scene. We're getting actually split scenes of Sutton and Crystal also having peach cobbler at that crepe place. I guess Sutton bought that cake last year, and she was calling it the pancake cake, but it wasn't a pancake cake. It was crepes or crepes, whatever you call them, crepes. So they're talking about, you know, Lisa and Kyle. I'm going to jump back and forth because it kind of happened at the same time. Sutton seems really small, but you know, they're just like commenting on how Kyle was in Halloween and how it was just like so crazy how, you know, what, 30, 40 years later, however many years later, actually like 40, because Kyle made this movie when she was a little girl, that it's just amazing that, you know, she's in this movie, and spoiler, she survives. So she will be in the next one. And then they start talking about this freaking Elton John gala thing. So Rinna is not happy. She's not pleased with, still not happy about Sutton talking about it. And, you know, she doesn't want to talk about it tonight at Harry's 70th birthday party that they're getting ready for. We flash over to Crystal and Sutton. They also talk about it. Sutton also mentions, listen, yeah, I'm going to go to Harry's party, but I really just, I don't want to get into it. So we, next scene, we have Rinna and Harry arriving at the party. First people there, of course, they're doing seating charts. Lisa is, again, she's wearing like this all yellow jumpsuit. And I don't know the space that they were in, which I know they ate at that restaurant last year, the Kill Bill place, because she kind of reminded me of Uma Thurman's character, you know, in Kill Bill. But it was like more like if she was wearing like a suit. I don't know. That's just what I thought of. It was just like all yellow. And that's just like the first thing I thought of. There was no black in it though. But so they're doing the seating chart, and she's like, okay, I'm going to put Sutton way down here. And Harry's like, wait, way down there? And she's like, yeah. Oh, I have to back up. I forgot something. So at the lunch with Kyle, Lisa advises that Harry sent Sutton a text message, and that he was like, what did he say? Hold on, where's my notes? Because this was crazy. Harry sent her a text, and he's like, you know, Sutton, we've been going to this event for years. I don't know what you're doing, but you need to stop. And I'm like, okay, Harry, why don't you let that just be between Rinna and Sutton? Your wife has no problems talking. She doesn't need you being a mouthpiece for her. But I guess maybe Harry also felt personally offended. But remember a few years ago when Lisa and Kyle had got into it, and like they went for a walk, or Kyle was like walking in LA somewhere, and Harry like told her off on the trail. So Harry will, you know, that's his wife. Harry's gonna, you know, speak up for Lisa. So I don't know. I kind of didn't like that, but whatever. It is, you know, she did bring Harry into this drama publicly, if you will. So Okay, so we're back at dinner. They're doing the seating chart. We're showing everybody, you know, before that we got a sequence of everybody getting ready for this party. And we have Crystal and Sutton in the car together. Now this happened after the scene I'm going to talk about with Kyle and everyone. But I just thought it was funny because Sutton was like, you know, yeah, you know, I talked to Dorit and I'm such an impact, and it was just so horrible. And as you remember last episode, Sutton really was not the most sensitive. She certainly did not come off as an empath and understanding what Dorit went through. And, you know, Crystal and Rob are in the car. So we flash over to Kyle in the car, and they're talking about, you know, everything. And Kyle's like, hey, you know, did Sutton reach out to you? Dorit's like, yeah, she did. You know, she sent flowers or something to that effect. And PK's like, she didn't come over though, did she? And I kind of like that Dorit was like, no, she didn't come over. She's like, you know, we're friends, but like, no, she wouldn't be running to my house like when something like this happens. And I think we can all relate and understand, you know, like we have people that we're going to maybe shoot a text to, a phone call, send flowers, but maybe we're going to give them their space before we run over there. And then they're like really core circle are the ones who are going to be there when something terribly bad happens, you know? Although I'm sure if Sutton had showed up, Dorit wouldn't have been like, what are you doing here? But I thought that was very fair of Dorit to say that. Well, you know, Kyle goes a little further and she's saying how basically, you know, she didn't like Sutton's behavior. She didn't like how after that happened, that Thursday, Sutton was posting with margaritas and saying Thirsty Thursday. And she gets into the story about the designer and how, you know, Sutton, just to give a quick recap, but she tells them in the car, she tells Maurizio, PK, and Dorit that Sutton was like, oh, my designer is having immigration issues from France and I'm just having this hard day. And Kyle was just like, what are you talking about? Like, that's not hard compared to our friend who just went through robbery, went through this awful thing with her children, thought she was going to lose her life. And she tells them straight up that Sutton is like, well, I'm sorry I didn't have a gun to my head. And you could just, honestly, you could see PK just turning red. Dorit was just like, what? Like just taking the information in. And then PK was like, oh, I wish you didn't tell me that. And I was like, you know, he goes, I wish you hadn't have told me that. And I was like, yeah, Kyle, I mean, it's Kyle's job, you know, to do this, to spill the tea, if you will. But like, dang, girl, like she didn't put no emphasis on it. She told it exactly how it was. So, meanwhile, back at Harry's 70th, we've got Erica arriving as one of the first guests. And you know something, she was in a really jovial mood, and she just seemed like she was really happy. So I don't know what was going on there. You know, she could be friendly, but she was like laughing, and like she had several scenes where I was like, wow, she really was happy about the fact that Kyle has the same perfume as her, or like just various things where I was just like, okay, girl, like you're doing a lot right now, but whatever. She's probably happy to be out, because keep in mind this was still COVID. They're all arriving in mass. Everyone's happy. We get Garcelle coming, and it was kind of funny. She has a quick little scene with Harry. She gives him his gifts and, you know, says does their hellos. Harry lets her know that they actually have bolognese on the spaghetti bolognese on the menu. And, you know, if you remember that whole big deal about the apology, which is the whole reason that Sutton even brought up the Elton John tickets. But I thought that was kind of cute that they can laugh about that now, because honestly, it was the stupidest thing ever when she thanked him in person to not mention the sauce. But like I said, you know, I would have definitely probably asked her myself, like, hey, did you like the sauce? Because that's just how I am. When I cook something or do something, I need to know. I need that, is it not gratification? I need that recognition. Like, did you guys like it? Like, how was it? I wouldn't have waited for Garcelle to tell me how that damn sauce was, but whatever. Okay, so Sutton gets there and she just lets it known, like, look, in her confessional, I'm here. I don't want no problems. This is Harry's birthday. I don't want to have any issues. I'm just here to party. Dorit and PK arrive. They give hugs. I think they speak to Sutton. No one says anything about anything, actually. It was, surprisingly, that actually didn't even come up at all with them. So enter Diana Jenkins. Diana is one of Lisa's friends. Before she gets there, they're like, oh, Diana's coming. Diana's one of Lisa's friends. She's one of Crystal's friends. and she's a character. They're like, look, Diana, she is very rich. She is rich, as Rena would say. She's, you know, she's got yachts, and she's got all these homes and just this really glamorous lifestyle. She knows everybody. They described her as being Europe's it girl. And she is just, you know, I guess she's not really new money, although she does make the term nouveau rich, and there she says it. But she's kind of been rich for several years now, I guess. But she's very flashy. So she enters with her young boyfriend or fiance named Asher, who's 13 years younger than her. And he's got like this little Tarzan haircut. He was cute. I don't know if he maybe give Mo a run for his money, because I think Mo is definitely the hottest, you know, Beverly Hills husband, and maybe one of the hottest husbands of the franchise, but he's definitely up there. And then we've got, you know, them just kind of saying hi, and the conversation, they all sit down and they start eating the dinner. We get a couple scenes of what they're eating, and everything looks delicious. Then they start kind of talking, and the conversation kind of turns towards the robbery a bit, Dorit's, and Diana mentions, you know, and this just kind of shows you how fabulous her life is, that, you know, oh, I was in Paris, you know, with Kim when she got robbed. And everyone's like, what? You were there? She's like, yeah, you know, I was there, but I didn't feel safe. And she tells a story about how she puts a chair on the door in the hotel room when she was there with Kim, in her room. And then you have Kyle. And I've noticed Kyle does this all the time with, like, basically everybody who is rich they're all pretty much rich on the show. But Diana was wearing a lot of Cartier. She was wearing like their Panther rings, which are from like, I guess, $40,000 to $230,000. But this girl had like, almost all of her hands had them. Erica actually described her looking like Liberace. So if you don't know who Liberace is, look him up. But very flashy, wore a lot of jewelry, just fabulous, flashy person. And R.I.P. And so Kyle's like trying on her rings. And I swear, I feel like Kyle does that all the time. Am I making that up? Does Kyle not like look at something that someone else has and is just like, you know, fangirling over it as if she can't herself go afford $230,000 worth of rings if she wants? Mauricio does very well with the agency. Kyle also does very well herself. So whatever. But Diana's like, yeah, you know, try them on. Yeah, you know, I'm rich. Like, she's like kind of like flashy with that. She's all, yeah, you know, this is nouveau rich. When you go from poor to rich fast, you just spend your money, you know, on fast cars. You just want it. Like, very little apologies. She doesn't care. And then we go to Lisa, and she starts giving a speech about how happy she is to be Mrs. Hamlin. We get some really cute throwbacks of her and Harry, and he looked so hot back then, especially. So that was cute to see them. And they've been married for nearly 30 years. We get a small shot of the guys talking a little bit. We learn that Asher is a musician. So it's kind of funny. I'm like, you know what, Diana, go girl. Like, you got your little musician boyfriend. He seems like, I think he walked in holding the gift even. Like, probably holds a purse. I don't know. I'm sure we'll get more information about them. The ladies do a cheers to Dorit, you know, just for surviving the harrowing experience and the horrible week she's had. And they just say that they love her. And then you have Sutton. And here we go. Okay, so this is so confusing. I'm going to try to make this fast because it's honestly kind of ridiculous. But we've got Sutton, and she goes to say, you know, speaking of, I don't know, friendships or this or that, I may have overspoken. Listen, I can't talk about these people if they have accents without trying to do them, so forgive me. She's like, I apologize, Lisa, for saying something I shouldn't have said, and I misspoke. And Lisa, you know, I think wants to fight for sure. She doesn't want to take a high road. She doesn't want to do anything except fight and put Sutton in her place where she thinks that she should. So she's like, well, I appreciate you saying sorry, but you didn't buy me a table. Let's be clear about that. You canceled that table at the last minute and left them high and dry, and I had to scramble to get tickets. And Sutton's like, what, Lisa, that's a lie. That's a lie. She goes, Sutton, they got an email, Lisa. She's like, they got an email the day before that you canceled. And she's like, you know, we had to scramble for tickets and everything was sold out. And they told us, well, if you do an interview with IMDb, then you can sit at their table. And Lisa was like going on and on about how embarrassing this was for the charity, and it was just not right. And Sutton's just looking kind of perplexed and stuff. And then Garcelle's like, well, don't you have a receipt, you know? And Sutton's like, you know, I think Lisa's like, well, if you have a receipt, you know, what do you mean? Sutton's like, now, Lisa, come on. I don't cancel tables, okay? Now you have Diana chiming in out of nowhere, and she's like, you guys, this is classless. Now, I can't do her accent because I can't even quite pinpoint it, as I think it was Lisa or somebody pointed out that she sounds like Shasha Kapoor, or she named a couple other, like, old school housewives, excuse me. Let me put some respect. Some old school Hollywood. I think she said Marlena Dietrich and Greta Garbo. She named some really, you know, old school fabulous Hollywood actresses. And I'm like, you know, this is just like a rich accent. So whatever. She's just got this great accent. So she's talking like, this is classless. But I'm like, how is this classless? But you taking off your Cartier rings and talking about how much money you have is not classless. But whatever, girl. So, Lisa just goes back into it, though. This is embarrassing, Sutton. You know better. And Sutton says, well, I do know what slander is. And then you have Erica like peek, because Erica's at the table too. She's like, slander. Slander. What an interesting word. Slander. Sorry. She says it so many times. I'm like, Erica, okay. Just full Disney villain voice on that woman. So Sutton's like, look, I've got receipts. Garcelle's like, look, if you've got it, just bring it out. Everyone's like, come on, yeah, just bring it out. Let's settle it. So she brings out the receipt, reads it, that says something to the effect of, hey, are you going to be paying for Lisa's table or something like that? And she's like, yeah. She gives them her American Express card. They charge her $11,500. So she did. And Lisa's like, well, that's not what I was told. And Crystal's like, well, Diana underwrites for this event. And it turns out that Diana is like highly involved with this event. And I'm like, well, why are you just not saying anything? Like, so clearly, obviously Diana's being introduced into the show, but like Diana knows exactly what happened. And in the end, it's super confusing. And it just sounds like this big, stupid miscommunication. And again, you know, Sutton tries to apologize. And then Erica's like, where's my apology? And Sutton's like, you're not getting one. And she goes, why not? Why not? And she was like, I don't like you. And she goes, oh, it's mutual. I don't like you either. And then Sutton goes, reaches over to shake her hand. And Erica goes, you know what? Fuck off. Go fuck yourself. And Sutton's like, no, you go fuck yourself. No, you go fuck yourself. No, you go. So they start like bickering back and forth. Oh, you shut up. You shut up. They start fighting. Garcelle gets up. She's like, you know what? This is too much. This is too much. You don't want to accept her apology. This just seems nasty for no reason. Erica and Sutton are over here. And I feel like Garcelle's like, before that even happened, like I noticed Garcelle was staring at Erica. Garcelle is never going to let Erica talk to Sutton like she did last year. The or what dinner is never going to happen again on Garcelle's watch. So Garcelle is like, she's so on edge, and I know she wants to fight with Erica. So, okay. So they're like, because Garcelle's like, you know, this is nasty. I'm getting up, I'm leaving, you know. And then Rena's like, well, I don't want to be nasty. Rena, girl, yes, you do. So then they get up, and she's like, you know, Sutton goes over there. She's like, you know what? I just want to apologize again. I adore you. And then Garcelle's like, oh, hold on. You actually don't adore her. And they have this kind of funny moment. Kyle notices how fake it seems as well. Everyone notices it seems pretty fake, but they finally, after like, who knows how long it was in person, because it was confusing as hell, they put it behind him. Okay, so they put it behind them. They decide to move on. I'm pretty sure this will get brought up again. Absolutely nothing ever gets put under the table on the show, ever, unless you're Rena or Kyle, and nobody ever has to bring really your drama to the table. This is the biggest storyline Rena's freaking had forever. So, then that's the end of the night. You know, basically the dinner ends. We skip over to Diana. We get to learn a little bit more about her. She has a son who's 22. She has a daughter who's 19. Great looking kid. She also has a baby. Diana is 47 and has a 1-year-old, which is amazing. She has a nanny, a housekeeper, a chef. She's got a little dog. She has a stylist. She says she loves to travel with everybody. She says she has rotates in her home. She's got 5 to 6 homes. like all over the world. I think she said Clavar and like some other places. Of course, Beverly Hills, London. She was married, got $250 million from her divorce, but she said, you know, she had extreme poverty because I think she said, was she from Bosnia? I might have that wrong, or was a Bosnian war or something, but she became a refugee at 19, moved to London, said she did anything for 10 years to make money, and, you know, got married to this super rich guy and had a life with him, got divorced, and in between there, or after there rather, meets Asher, has a 1-year-old now. So she has a very big life, as they said. Now, I'm not going to get into it too much, but I actually do like Diana. She seems okay, but I have read some really shady things about her online, like really, really, really shady things. You can look at that. Don't know how true that stuff is, but obviously if it's true, I mean, Bravo's got to stop getting people on their shows that are just terrible people. So I'm hoping they did their due diligence there, but I don't know. There are some really nasty things about Diana on there. But with next scene, we've got Kyle confronting Sutton at her store. I'm just going to get straight to that. She goes straight to Sutton about not liking Sutton's attitude about the robbery. And to be honest, I actually was happy because I felt like Kyle had so much to say in the car with Dorit and PK and Maurizio. And she says it again, you know, she says it to Sutton's face. Sutton doubles down on it. And she's like, look, I was robbed when I was a teenager. And must I remind you that my father, you know, took his life. And Kyle was like, that's an excuse, basically. And I think Sutton's reason, personally, I think that's not fair for Kyle to dismiss Sutton's feelings on those topics. I think that Sutton has every right to maybe feel uncomfortable. She should have 100% been a lot more understanding of her friends and just sympathetic. I mean, she acted like an asshole, honestly. She did. So there's really no excusing it, but she didn't even give any inkling that situation was too much for her to talk about. You know, she could have been like, you know what? Oh, it's awful. I really can't, Kyle. I can't even wrap my head around. That would have made, I think, a little bit more sense. But everyone reacts to things differently. So in short, I think it was a great episode. I'm happy so far with the season. There is still no Kathy Hilton. And listen, there's a lot of stuff coming out. Rena's releasing text messages and things about Kathy Hilton, you know, and what happens in Aspen. I'll get into that later, though. And I'm excited to see where things go. Next week looks kind of spicy. It looks like Crystal gets into it or something. They're out in Palm Springs for Kyle's store. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's so far a good season. So if you listen to this video, I have like 9 subscribers, which I think is so cute. So you're probably my family and friends. But if you listen to this, thank you so much. If you're new here, subscribe, like, comment below. And last but not least, I did think, you know, I had a very busy day and then got the horrible news, of course, about what happened in Texas. So my heart is with everybody. It's just terrible. So prayers to children, the teacher, and the families affected, and anybody that this triggers, because it really did shake me, so as a mom. But praying for everybody. So until next time, guys, goodbye.